All right, guys, welcome to another live stream. Today's date is July 10th. The current time is 7:30 p.m. It is Thursday. We will not be trading. Well, I typically do not trade stocks on Friday. So in today's live stream, we are going to be looking at stocks that we are currently in as of today. When could we possibly get out of them? We're going to look at the stocks that we actually sold today. And today was a pretty good trading day, even though we only got out of one particular stock trade. And then we're going to be looking at our economic calendar to see what we can expect next week as far as any kind of big news that may be coming out. All right. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing we normally do is we come over here to, let's go here. First thing we normally do is we come over to investing.com and we're going to look at the economic calendar, but we're not going to be looking at this week, which is right here. We're going to be looking at next week. And like I said, we're going to be trying to find possible trades. We're going to, well, not possible trades. What we're really going to be doing is really looking to see what next week should look like as far as, um, give me 1 second here. We're setting up everything. As far as, okay. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. We have a new setup here, as you guys can see, with all of the sidebars and everything else like that. So let's see if we can get everything in order. So I was a little bit distracted here, and next week may be a little bit more crazier because I will also be live streaming on TikTok at the same time. I'm kind of new to this. I am an old man, going to be 43 this month, so please bear with me. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is look at Monday. Monday, we don't really expect much to happen on Monday. As you can see, we have no 3 stars events coming out. And then we have Tuesday. Tuesday, we do have a lot, well, not a lot, but we do have a good deal of information that's going to be coming out on Tuesday. So with that being said, okay, let's take a look here. All right, there we go. All right, so with that being said, Tuesday, we do have a good deal of information coming out. We do have 1, 2, 3 star events coming out on Tuesday, but that's going to be in the morning at about 8:30. And right here we see core CPI index. Now, for those of you who have taken my course on Udemy, like I explained before, you don't necessarily need to know exactly what these reports are that are coming out. But if you do click on them, then you would actually go ahead and right here you will see where it gives you a brief rundown. It's basically the core consumer price index, which lets us know if there's inflation, if prices have gone up, how do consumers feel about certain things. And these are excluding food and energy, but this is for goods and services. Also, it tells you right here if the number is higher than expected, then it's a positive sign, is bullish. And if it is lower than expected, then that is a negative sign that the bears may be taking over. Okay, so it lets you know how to break that down and read it. So that goes for not only that, but it goes for everything else that you see here on our charts. All right, so we do have the Fed speaking here. Also on Wednesday, we don't have anything major happening. We have PPI coming out. Like I said, you can click on that if you want to know what that information is. Crude oil inventory. Now, like I said before in a lot of my other live streams, as well as some of the shorts that I had posted, you cannot be, you cannot expect to be a very successful trader if you're not up to date on what's going on in the news. You have to be aware of those type of things. And the reason for that is because, for example, we're looking at what's coming out next week on Wednesday. Next week on Wednesday, we have the crude oil inventories coming out. And sure enough, if you're up to date on what's happening in the news, the Houthis, this is their second ship that they've actually attacked this week, and they actually sunk one of these container ships that's coming through the straits. So if we're getting oil from the Middle East and these ships have to go through there and the Houthis are attacking the ships and they're even sinking them and taking people as hostage, that could be a sign that the crude oil, you may want to start looking at trading oil stocks next week, if not buying some today, tomorrow, because there's probably going to be a little bit of a crisis and a shortage of oil. So don't be surprised if tomorrow, starting tomorrow, the price of oil goes up through the roof. What else do we have coming out next week, Thursday? So next week, Wednesday, is going to be a lot of information regarding oil. So I'm going to be looking at some oil stocks to purchase tomorrow. I typically don't trade on a Friday because Fridays are when there's a lot of day traders or short-term traders are selling off stocks. That's why you see Fridays, most Fridays, the stocks drop, as well as the current administration. I won't say Trump. Well, the current administration is talking a lot more about tariffs, right? And one of the things I would tell you is you would realize that our government, especially our government here in the US, they love to release really bad news over the weekend. This way, it's not all over the media and it's less of an impact, because if they release it on a Friday evening or even on a Saturday, by the time Monday comes around, we've kind of digested it, but it hasn't really been something that people are going to be talking about over the water coolers, because most people are going to be off from work. So I normally try to be out of most of my trades on a Friday, but I will be looking at some oil stocks for that. Next thing we're going to be looking at is retail sales. We have retail sales jobless claims that's going to be coming out on Thursday. So you may want to, and not only just because of the oil, but also because of the tariffs, and not just because of this report that's coming out, I would recommend getting out of any retail stocks, Amazon, Walmart, Target stocks, because with the tariffs and everything happening, the talks of tariffs and everything, it could really have an effect on those type of stocks, e-commerce stocks and different things like that, like SCs as well. Now we have our jobless claims report that's coming out. And remember, we're only focusing on our 3 stars over here. We have the Philadelphia Fed manufacturing reports. What else? Retail sales, more retail sales information is going to be coming out. Housing index, and that's pretty much it. And then we have a lot of stuff dealing with housing that's going to be coming out as well, and building permits. Okay, but that's going to be coming out on Friday. So you could buy certain stocks, but you may dealing with housing, but you may want to try to be out of them by Thursday, if not, early Friday, before those reports come out. So now that we've looked at our economic reports, we kind of get an idea of what's going to be happening next week. So we're able to go from there, right? So now let's go ahead and close this out. And what we're going to be doing now is we're going to be looking at some of the trades that I was able to get out of today. And this is going to relate to a lot of the things that we were talking about yesterday in the live. So remember in yesterday's live, which was Wednesday the 9th, I told you guys that I would be trying to get out of the stocks here that you see in green, which are the current stocks that I'm in. The purple label over here is the stock that I actually just got out of. And then we have the blue stocks, which are stocks that I'm actually watching to see what happened with those, right? So we started off the week on Monday with I think we were in like 12 different trades, and now I'm down to about 6. So I was able to get out of 6 of them. I'm left with now 6 trades that I'm still in as far as these stocks. This stock right here, MP, I was able to get out of it this morning. And remember, this one right here is a material stock. This actually is a precious metal stock, right? Now, remember, I bought the stock here at $31.86. And when I bought the stock here, yesterday we were talking, this is our area of resistance right here, the red line. And give me 1 second here. Let's go ahead and put the demonstrator on. So the red line over here is the area of resistance. So as soon as it got above, so this is one of our areas of resistance. I bought the stock here at the price of $31.86. The stock came down yesterday, and this is yesterday's ticker. As you guys can see, this is Wednesday on the 9th. The stock actually closed right about $29. You could say $30. That's where the stock closed at, about $30 yesterday. And I mentioned that I would probably have to keep an eye on this particular stock and maybe even get out of it. Because if you look over here, it tells you this is a metals and materials, right? And when we talked about tariffs, okay, we import a lot of that stuff. We don't make that stuff here in the US. A lot of it we import. But this particular company right here deals, like right here, if you look in this area, And this is why I love to use TradingView. They tell you this is a US-based company that works with the Department of Defense, right? So as soon as they mention that, they that means that the Department of Defense was buying a majority of their stocks from, getting the majority of the metals from importing them. Then what's going to happen is this stock, this particular company here was going to probably be able to monopolize um, and sell more products to the U.S. Consumers, because everything that's going to be coming in from out of the country, whether it's African countries, which were the countries that were being charged with the tariffs, Canada, South America, there was a good chance that the stock could go up or it can come down, right? And fortunately, for me, the stock closed at about $30, but this morning, the stock opened up. The stock opened up all the way over here at about $48. The stock opened up. And within 5 minutes of the market opening, that's why you see this little red line here, I was able to sell the stock at $45.96. And this is one of the stocks that I told you guys yesterday during the live. I need to keep an eye on it, because depending on what happens within the first maybe half an hour when the market opens up, I may end up having to get out of the stock right away, because this was going to be a very volatile stock. And I had to keep a close eye on it. So I was able to make a pretty good penny over here. And this is not things that happen on a regular. As you can see, this stock actually moved up $15.20, right? And where this stock, on average, it had an ATR, which is right over here, as you guys can see. This stock had an ATR of about $3.34. So on average, this stock was moving $3.34 a day. And today was a really good day for anybody that was in trade, because the stock ended up moving up $15.20. And that's why you have the purple sign here, because I actually ended up selling the stock right away and got out of the trade about $45, close to $46. Okay. Now, these are the other stocks that I'm involved in right here, which are the stocks in green. Right here, we have NNE. NNE right here is in electrics. They produce electric products. This particular stock here, let's see here. Okay, I'm getting messages. So this particular stock, I got into it at $37.44. That's why it's in yellow. And the stock did a pullback, and now the price is at $35.20. I expect this stock, as you can see, it's still in an uptrend. We have our moving averages. I have them color coded, so when I see the green lines on top and it's pointing up, and the red lines at the bottom and it's pointing up, it lets me know that we are in a clear uptrend, which is what I see here. This right here, this line that we have drawn here, the black line, that's our area of resistance. I'm just waiting for the stock to get up to here and break through it. Also, in this purple section right here, which is our RSI, as you can see, this little gray dotted line here that you see in the middle, that is the 50 mark point. So as long as this purple line right here stays above that dotted line, which we see right there, we know that it's going to be in an uptrend. And right now it's clearly pointing up. So that lets me know that we're also in an uptrend. And the RSI is an early indicator of whether or not we're in an uptrend or a downtrend. So I expect this to break through this area within the next, hopefully by Monday. I expect it to break through, if not tomorrow. And this particular stock here has an ATR of about $2. And let's see here, it's going to be $2.86. The stock moves on average about $2.86. So I'm still going to stay in this stock, because I expect it to break through this area of resistance, and I'm probably going to sell it once it gets up here in about $39 range, because I don't want to stay in any stocks right now with a lot of this uncertainty, especially with the talk of trading out and getting a new Fed in, and we're not 100% sure what's going to go with the interest rates. At first, they talked about bringing down the interest rates, but now the Fed is saying that they don't think that they can see themselves dropping the interest rates. And so now he's talking about trading out and taking Powell out of the Fed, which, we don't know what's going to happen with that right now. Next one that we're going to be looking at is going to be AAOI. This particular stock, I bought it at $25.57. which we can see right over here. And right now, the stock is at $28.30. You guys always hear me talk about pre-market and post-market. So basically, the stock closed at 4 o'clock. The stock closed at $28.25. During the post-market, it went up about 5 cents. So right now, the stock is roughly at about $28.30. This green line that you see here, which is something new that I'm doing to make things more visual for you guys, is the area where I expect to sell the stock and take my profit. So this stock moves up or down with the ATR of about $2 and let's see here. So this stock moves about $2.40 every day on a daily basis. So what I'm going to be looking at is probably getting out of this stock by tomorrow. The stock should hit this area by tomorrow, if not first thing Monday. So I should be able to cash out and take profit on this stock tomorrow. Okay. Next one is going to be Doc. Doc stock. Right here, we have a clear indication that we're going to be in the start of an possible uptrend. So we have, and we're looking at everything right here on a daily time frame. We have our moving averages, green lines on top, pointing straight up, red lines at the bottom. It's not pointing directly straight up, but it looks like it's doing that curvature as far as the red line right over here. We have an area of resistance over here, which is this red line that you see, and we can clearly identify that as an area of resistance if we switch over to our 4-hour time frame. In our 4-hour time frame, you see it's a clear area of resistance right here. So it's broken through that area of resistance. So the chances that it's going to come back down and touch it right now is going to be slim, next to none, because everything is looking really good, including our ROI. So over here, as you can see with our ROI, it's right there above the 50 mark, this little dotted line that you see here. I'm going to change the color of this so I can refer to that as far as the color, and you guys have a clear understanding of what I'm talking about. So with this right here, let's go ahead and change that one time so we can let's take a look here. And 50 mark, let's make that red. All right. And we're going to go with that, and we're going to go like that. Okay, so right over here in this area, you see that red line here? That's the 50 mark. That's basically like the midway mark, the little red line dotted line going across. So as long as our purple line here stays above it, then we know that we're still in a clear uptrend. Once it breaks below that red line, which is the 50 mark on our RSI, and it stays below it like we see here in this section, then we know that we are going to be in a clear downtrend. But right now we're in a clear uptrend, and it's still pointing straight up. So that's letting us know that tomorrow it's going to probably continue moving up. This one has a low ATR, and so therefore I listed here that it's going to be a long-term hold. I bought the stock at $17.93. Currently, right now, the stock is at $18.53. I have a sell over here at $19. That's why you see the green line here. So I want to sell that at $19. But this stock only moves up or down about 37 cents a day. So I'll probably have to hold on to this for probably until the end of next week. But it's been having some really strong movement. So this is a stock that you can still buy into right now. It may have a little bit of a pullback, but it's more than likely won't go below 17.99. So it may have a little bit of a pullback, but right now we're still looking like we're going to be in a clear uptrend. And the good thing about it is you're catching it early at the beginning of the possible uptrend. So I would say there's still opportunity to buy this stock and continue riding it out. Now, just looking at the charts here, I would actually be able to stay into this and ride this a lot higher. But like I mentioned before, you have realized profit and unrealized profit. And if you're a new trader, what that basically means, or if you're new to trading, what that basically means is right now I'm in the green, right? I bought it I put $500 into it, and because every single one of the trades here, we put $500 into them because we're trading from the point of view of a brand new trader. And what I tell most of my students is, if you're new to trading, you typically want to start off an account with 500. So at the end of the 3-month mark, I'll just pull up my accounts and we'll go over and see how much money I made making these trades. But if you're an individual and you put $500 into this, and right now you bought at $17.93, it's at $18.53. You're almost up about $1 for each stock that you own. you have unrealized profit, meaning you're in the green, but since that money is not in your account as far as you own it and you're out of the trade, it's unrealized. So here I know I can take my profit easily instead of sitting on it for a longer period of time because the ATR on this one is really low. Like I said, on this particular stock, the ATR is $37.37. So imagine this stock moving up 37 cents on average every day for the last 14 days or for the next upcoming 14 days. It's going to be like a slow ticker, and that money's going to be tied up for so long where I can just cash it out at 19 and move that into another stock that's going to probably give me a higher ATR. All right. Depending on what happened with it tomorrow, I might sell it tomorrow, or if I find a better stock, I might sell it on Monday and get into another stock that's going to give me a higher ATR, moves a lot faster, and is probably around the same price point. But for right now, this is still a good stock to get into. The uptrend is just now starting. The next one is going to be ZETA. ZETA, this is another stock that we're in. I actually bought this stock right here at $15.39. I have my take profit over here at about 1641. The reason for that is because, let's go ahead and stretch this out. This is a software. This is a packed software stock. We broke through an area of resistance that was right here on. And this is on our daily time frame. We broke through this area of resistance right here. Okay, and when we broke through this area of resistance, the stock went up. It then it came back down and it dropped back down. I haven't done that much research in regards to this particular stock to see what may have actually caused that, but I know if you go back to some of my old videos, this happened around the time when we bombed Iran, I believe. Yeah, this section right here with a drop happened when we bombed Iran. And when we bombed Iran, the market, everybody in the market kind of got a little bit like, okay, we don't know what's going on. And this is a great example of technicals and fundamental analysis. Like I said, technical analysis here at the time, we broke through an area of resistance. Our moving averages, red line was on top, pointing straight up. Red line's at the bottom, pointing straight up. Green line's at the top, pointing straight up. So that lets us know we were in the beginning of an uptrend, right? And when that happened, as you can see, the stock it was a strong break through that area of resistance. It went up, and then also if you look over here at our RSI, the RSI pointing straight up, right? But this is all technical analysis. Now, what happens is with the fundamental analysis is what's happening in the news, speculations, rumors, right? So as soon as the situation happened where we bombed Iran and we didn't know what was going on with the Middle East and everything else like that, that's the fundamental analysis. The stock came down and it dropped. So even though everything on your chart looks really good, if you're not taking into consideration what's happening in the news or anything else like that, that can really affect your trades as well. And this is why I say you cannot trust buying those softwares that are buy and sell signals. They tell you when to buy the stock and sell the stock, because what it's doing is it's just basically taking all of these indicators, support, resistance, RSI, average movement, moving averages, is taking all those into consideration and saying, hey, buy the stock right here when it breaks through this point, and when it gets up here or higher. But when something bad happens in the news or in the media, the software doesn't take that into consideration, and that's how a lot of traders end up losing their money. So this is why I'm constantly watching the news, constantly staying up to date on that. And if you want to be a successful trader, you want to do that. So let's get back to this, because I'm going to start talking a lot. Now, I'm going to stay in this trade. The reason why I'm staying in this trade, even though the stock has come down, it closed today at $14.94, but post market, it actually came up to $15.10. And remember, I bought the stock at $15.39. So it's kind of hovering in this area right here, right? So it's hovering between this line and it's hovering right between here. Right now it's right below the area of resistance, but post market, it actually came right up there and it lined up with the area, with the area of resistance, right? So we're going to see what happens tomorrow. And I think tomorrow we should be breaking through that, because all of our, so far, all of our indicators are showing that we should be in an uptrend. Now, what I'm concerned about is this piece right here with the RSI, right? With RSI, as you can see, it's pointing and it's about to touch the red line, which is the 50 mark on the RSI. And what I'm what I don't want to see is, I don't want to see it come down and break below this area. Because if it comes down and it breaks below this area, then we may be in the beginning of a downtrend. It may be a reversal. So what I'm looking to see tomorrow is, I'm looking to see the RSI not even touch the 50 mark. I'm looking to see that it starts to point back in the upward direction. Because if that starts to point up in because remember, I always say the RSI is an early indicator that if we're in an uptrend or downtrend. So if it starts to point in the upward direction, then I know that the uptrend is going to continue. All right. If it breaks through that, then I know we're in a possible downtrend. But I expect it to continuously move back up, because right now, with the sector that this stock belongs to, I don't see it being affected by tariffs. It's software. And I mentioned that yesterday, that we want to stay away from anything retail, and we want to stick with like software companies and different things like that during the time when they're talking about tariffs. You have to adjust your portfolio depending on what's happening in the news. But another easy way to figure out if we are going to be in a possible uptrend or downtrend, if the uptrend is going to continue, or if we're in a possible downtrend, is move from our daily time frame and go to the 4-hour time frame. And that's going to be another way to tell if there's an early indicator of a downtrend, right? Now, here's the part that worries me. Here, we can see that we've changed it over to the 4-hour time frame to see if there's an early turnaround. This is our area of resistance. As we can see, green line's supposed to be on top, pointing straight up. Red line's at the bottom, pointing straight up. That lets us know we're in a clear uptrend. Unfortunately, here we have this consolidation where the green line, as you can see, it's starting to turn, right? Because we've had like very little movement between here and there. Now it's starting to consolidate, and it's saying, hey, if these two touch and they cross each other, then what's more than likely going to happen is we're going to be in the downtrend. And then here on our RSI, you can see where it actually is touching the red dotted line, which is our 50 mark. So tomorrow morning, I need to keep a close eye on this to see what's happening with this stock, to see if it breaks through and it goes down. What I'm hoping to see is what happened here, where it touches it and then bounces back up, right? So we can see if that happens tomorrow, then we know that we're going to be back in that uptrend. But right now, this is a little bit worrying. And if I was to get out of this trade, the good thing about it is, let's say I was to get out of this trade first thing in the morning, and during the pre-market, nothing changes. I bought the stock at $15.39. Right now, the stock is at $15.02. So I would be losing less than, 37 cents. I'll be losing only 37 cents per stock that I own, right? And this is why I always try to buy into the stock as close as possible to the area of resistance, because if it kind of goes below it, I know that it's going to be a reversal and I can get out of it. Now, with that being said, the only reason I did not cash out when it broke back below this area of resistance is because I know that when it pulled back, it was because of what was going on in the news. And that's what we call the fundamental analysis. Something happened in the news that caused it to pull back. It was not necessarily that it's a bad stock. It was just investors were worried. So that's with this one. So we're going to keep an eye on that one for tomorrow. Next one that we're going to be looking at is Bull, which is Webull stock. All right. Now, Webull stock, let's take a look here. We're going to increase the size of that. And let's go from here. All right. So with Webull stock, I ended up buying the stock at $12.84. Right. I wanted to sell the stock over here at about $14.20. Stock closed at $12.82, so we're down about 2 cents. So we bought the stock here at $12.84. Stock current price is $12.82. So we're only down 2 cents. But the good thing about it is, and we're looking at, let's go back to our daily time frame first, and then we'll water it down. So you may look at this and say, well, why did I buy this stock if the red line's on top and it's pointing straight down, green line's at the bottom and it's pointing down over here? This lets me know that we're in a downtrend, right? But I did not buy it during this period. Between here and here, I did not buy that stock, because what was happening here is the moving averages, the red line's on top, is pointing straight down, letting me know that we're in a downtrend. Green line's at the bottom, it was pointing down, letting me know that we're in a downtrend. When I bought the stock, it was right about here, right? I think I bought the stock on this day right here, which was going to be on Monday. I bought the stock on Monday, actually. Monday morning, I bought it. And the reason why I bought it on Monday is because, as you can see with this is where it started to consolidate, right? The stock started, the moving averages, the red line and the green line, which is our moving averages, they started to come together. And as they started to come close together, it was an early indication that, hey, and we're going to look at this. We're going to see Wednesday. I'm going to click on, no, that's Monday. So here you can see at the bottom where it says Monday. When it starts to come together, I'm like, okay, this is an early indicator that we're probably going to be consolidating and doing a flip over. And if you look down here at our RSI for the same time frame, you can see that the RSI, it was above the 50, above that red line. So when I saw that it was consolidating here over in this area on Monday, and then it was also on the same time frame, our RSI was above the 50 and it was about to do another bounce on it, I bought the stock. And as you can see, it's been above there ever since. But the other reason I bought it a little early, and this is something that I can do because I kind of could read the market and I'm kind of going back and forth between the daily and the 4 hour time frame. I wouldn't recommend it to a brand new trader. Like if you see something like this, I wouldn't recommend that you trade it. But what I normally do is you'll always notice I go between the daily time frame. So when I saw this, I said, okay, let's see if this is an early sign of maybe a change, because there's two early indicators that you can look at. I said it earlier. One is by looking at the RSI over here to see if it's above the 50 mark. That was my first indicator. And then the second indicator that we may be about to change from a downtrend to an uptrend is when I go to the 4 hour time frame. And let's go over here to Monday. All right, so I'm going to try to do it like that. So let's go over here to Monday, right here, right here. So this is Monday. Nope, this is Tuesday and then Monday. This is Monday right here. So here you can see on Monday with this particular candlestick right here, we already had the crossover, and this is on our 4 hour time frame, where the green line's on top and it was pointing up and the red line's at the bottom. Granted, the red line was not pointing straight up, right? But because I knew that this was the green line was on top, it already crossed over what is called the golden cross. The green line moving averages came on top and it was pointing up. The red line was at the bottom. So I said, okay, I'm going to buy it early, because also here you can also see that on the RSI, it's above the 50 mark. So I bought it a little early, and the stock is kind of like stayed in this area. And now we may end up, eventually breaking through and reaching this area of resistance. I'm pretty comfortable and confident that it will eventually break through or at least touch this area of resistance right here. And that's why I have my sell point there. Now, if I have a strong candlestick that actually breaks through it, I will continue to ride the wave and maybe until it reaches up to maybe about $18. Okay, because it's been up here before. All right, so we're going to keep a close eye on this one as well to see what happens with that one. Lastly, we're going to be looking at EVH. With EVH, this is a stock that I purchased at $11.66. I purchased it at $11.66 after it broke through this area of resistance over here. I think I have some notes on this one, right? Do I have any notes? Let's take a look. Let's minimize that a little bit. Oh, no notes on this one. All right. I thought I did. All right. So I bought it right above here. And right here on Wednesday, this is Wednesday. So let's go back to our daily. I'm sorry, we're still on the 4 hour time frame. All right. So here is one of those things that we talked about. Once again, you have your technical analysis and you have your fundamental analysis, right? So we bought this stock. And when we bought the stock, we bought it right here above this area of resistance. It broke through it. And if you stroll down, you'll see this is the beginning of an uptrend. We have our moving averages, green lines on top, red lines at the bottom. Both of them are pointing straight up. And then if you look right over here, and we're going to look at this particular candlestick right here. This candlestick, if you look at the bottom of the screen, it tells you it's Tuesday's candlestick, right? So if you look at Tuesday's candlestick and you look straight down, you'll see we already have a crossed over here where the green lines where we crossed over into what they call a golden cross. Moving average, green lines on top, red lines at the bottom, both pointing up. And then if you go over down a little bit more and you go to our RSI, you see it's well above. It's actually in the area of being overbought, but it's well above the 50 and it's pointing straight up, right? So we buy the stock here. And this is on Tuesday of last week. This is Wednesday of last week. This is Thursday. Now remember, this was July 4th, July 3rd, July 3rd, which is Tuesday. The market closed at 1 o'clock. Now here at on Monday, the stock is fine. Tuesday, the stock is fine. What happened on Wednesday that caused the stock to drop? What happened yesterday? They started talking about tariffs. And when they started talking about tariffs on Wednesday, the stock went from up here and it just dropped. Our fundamentals, our technical analysis showed us that everything was fine and the stock is moving up. But then what happened is typically once it breaks through an area of resistance like this, it will not do a pullback and close below that area of resistance. But here, when he releases the information about the tariffs, the stock dropped below the area of resistance and then it just kind of hovered around here the whole day, right? And so here's another area of resistance, but it didn't break through it. So I still expect this stock to continue this ride back up with the uptrend. And I still expect it to continue going up. And I have a green line here to sell it at 1267. I might hold on to it a little bit longer if the ATR over here changes, because right now the ATR is for this particular stock is only 50 cents, 53 cents on average movement per day. So I'm going to keep an eye on this one to see what happens with this particular stock. I do expect the stock, if I hold on to it for at least till the end of the month, I do expect it to probably reach up a lot higher than the 13, maybe in the 14, 15 range. But this will be a long-term hold. So we'll see what happens with that one. So like I said, today is Thursday. Tomorrow, Friday, I will just be keeping an eye on the market to see what happens. I don't plan on doing any major trades. I might jump into some oil stocks, especially based off of what's happening in the Middle East with them attacking the shipping containers and probably going to be attacking and trying to steal oil tankers. So I do expect the price of crude oil to go up. So I'll just keep an eye on some of those and see if there's any new tech stocks that come out. I doubt I'm going to jump into anything else besides the crude oil if I do any trades on tomorrow. Like I said, we do these live streams Monday through Thursday at 7:30 p.m. So I will not be doing a trade. I will not be doing another live stream tomorrow. I won't be doing another one all the way until Tuesday. But you can follow me on TikTok or Instagram because I will be posting up shorts also on YouTube whenever I do any kind of like spontaneous trades or anything else like that throughout the day. All right. Thank you guys for joining. I'll see you on Monday, same time, same place.